Talking ag policy now and the lingering government shutdown. SUNUP's Curtis Hare is with Dr. Amy Hagerman.
The government shutdown is continuing, and Amy, it's been over a month. So has this been one of the longest shutdowns that we've had in recent memory?
Yeah, it really has. So previously we go back to that 2018-2019 shutdown that lasted 35 days. So as of now, we've officially rolled over that timeline and we're in the longest shutdown we've experienced. And that has consequences because these things are cumulative. The longer you go on a shutdown like this, the more effects begin to accumulate over time.
And what are some of those effects that you had mentioned in a previous summit, but let's kind of walk through those a little bit.
Yeah, so we start to think about, at least in that initial period, just the offices being closed. There's a couple of consequences of that. First, I think for us in farm country is that the reports aren't coming out that we would expect. Pretty critical timing in terms of harvest, marketing around harvest, and planning how we're going to market our crops over time. Those reports are really important for those kinds of decisions, and we're lacking that information right now. Markets are lacking that information right now as well, and that has effects. I think too, the fact that offices aren't open in October, this is an important month for us in programs, new programs coming up, deadlines that are coming up, decisions that have to be made generally by October 15th, which we've already passed those timelines, or by December 1st. We're shortening up our windows of time that we have to make those kinds of decisions. But as we rolled past that 1 month mark, as we rolled into November, then we have additional consequences in terms of just, you have 1 month of funding available to you as of September 30th, but now we don't have that second month of funding for critical programs.
And one of those critical programs is SNAP as well. And there had been some news that a court issue, a judge ordered issue to go out that some SNAP benefits should be distributed. That might not be happening now, but Oklahoma has had some efforts to mitigate that a little bit. So talk about that.
Yeah, so, whenever you go past that window of time, you don't have the appropriations, you can do emergency appropriations for SNAP benefits. And I think that's what a lot of the discussion and the conflict has been at the federal level, is those federal appropriations, emergency appropriations to keep the funds rolling out the door. But states have stepped in, and Oklahoma is one of those states where we have emergency rainy day type funds that get shifted over to kind of keep the money rolling, especially for our food banks and food pantries in the state that are bearing a lot of the burden of picking up that lack of benefits for SNAP recipients.
And approaching holiday season as well.
Absolutely. This is a really, it's a big flux of demand for all of us, for all households coming into the Thanksgiving season. And food pantries receive a lot of demand in this time of year. So they're already in a high demand season, and then having an increase in the number of people because they can't receive their SNAP benefits just adds additional burden. And I've seen such a warm outpouring in Oklahoma, and I know you have too, of individuals stepping in, trying to help with those funding shortfalls in our food distribution centers across the state.
And even if, as this is airing, a deal could have been reached, who knows? But even with that, even if the deal and the government opens, there's still, a backlog of things that can still cause a lot of issues. So talk a little bit about that.
There's a certain inertia, right, in a big federal agency like this that's across the country in keeping business rolling over time. The longer that whole machine is shut down, the more it takes to get it rolling again. And so we shouldn't expect, even if the doors reopen, even if appropriations happen in the next few days, we really shouldn't just mass onto those offices. Take the time to make the appointment. Let them tell you when they're ready to start bringing in folks to do regular business again. I know crop reports are due in this window. That's a big flux in this time of year too. And obviously we need those crop reports in for different programs, but just call the office, make that appointment, let them tell you when they're really back up and fully running. Because, these folks, they haven't been able to check their email, they haven't received all the mail that's in the office. And so they've just got a backlog. It's like the worst vacation ever, right, in terms of the backlog.
Yeah. We'll check back in with you in a few weeks, and hopefully some things have changed for the better. All right, thanks, Amy. Amy Hagerman, OSU Extension Ag Policy Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.